You're still kind of tired, so you get some coffee and then you open your emails and there's so many things that need to happen. So you start working and at some point it's noon and you're like, no, actual work needed to happen today. 3 p.m. there's this energy dip. So you're like, more coffee, I need to get this done. Still, you know, if we're fair, the motivation, the energy is not really there. So it's 5 p.m. and then you're thinking, what did actually happen today? The way we're gonna fix this is by looking at our most core skill. When you look at professional athletes or high-level musicians, like a pro guitar player, he will practice his most basic scales every single day, yet we as knowledge workers rarely pay any attention to what's really one level deeper. No, you know, what really matters for all of us is that we stay motivated, that we can stay focused on a single task, that we can manage our tasks and our time well. How can you be a high performer if you do not practice your basics? Oof, I know I'm maybe hitting hard here just at the start of the video, but actually I want this to be motivating and encouraging for you, because if you haven't paid attention to these skills up until now, then imagine what life could be like within a year if you consistently practice what really is at the core of being high performance and not burning out at the same time. So we're gonna divide our day up into 3 parts. There's the morning, there's the working day, and then there's the evening. So let's get going here. Okay, so we just woke up. What do we do? No, not this. You know, the first thoughts you have throughout the day, they really define the way your brain is gonna work for the rest of your day. So if there's any point in time that you pay attention to what you're thinking, please let it be the morning. I start by meditating, which is actually for me focus training. What you're gonna do is you sit there and you try to focus on one thing, for example, your breath. You notice when you get distracted, and when you do get distracted, you say, no, I'm not gonna think anymore. I'm gonna return to focusing on my breath, for example. I quite often use a Muse headband, which is like an EEG brain scanner thing, and it gives you auditory feedback and it makes sounds when you start to get distracted. So it helps in that it notices more quickly than you when you're getting distracted. So in that way you get into a deeper meditative state much more quickly. But this skill, this practice, like I call it focus training because it's literally the same thing you do during work to stay focused. You look at your head, you look at what you're thinking, and when you're thinking something, you're like, nope, let's get back to focus. So that's something that's very important for me. It increases my productivity when I do it in the morning. So it's like, this is probably the most important thing that I do here. Next up is the gratitude reset. I call it a reset because I feel like focusing on what I'm grateful for is an incredible way to reset my brain when I'm all over the place, when I'm thinking, when I'm worried. Then quite often just, if I put my hand on my heart, it's easier, but I close my eyes and I think of a few things that I'm grateful for. And the trick here is to try and really feel your gratitude. When you're just starting out, this is hard because you don't know what it feels like, but if you just keep practicing every single day, at some point you'll get there. And like, it makes me so happy to know that I can teach this to you because it's a game changer. Like when you do this, like for 30 days, say, thinking about 3 things you're grateful for every day, then at some point your mind will start noticing more things that it's grateful for automatically. And so what I've learned about happy people, what's the difference between a happy person and a less happy person, is that, like, if there's one secret, it would be that happiness does not happen over months or years. Happiness happens in minutes and hours. So the difference between less happy and more happy people is just that more happy people have more happy thoughts more often. It's so stupidly simple. I mean, if you have like a clinical condition that makes this difficult for you, then like by all means please go into therapy. But for most of us, it really comes down to practicing happiness, as weird as it may sound. Just realizing that there are certain things that I can think about that make me feel good, so let's just do it more often. And gratitude is one of those things where you try to focus on 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big things that happen, they can be really small. I'm grateful for the coffee I'm drinking because it's always so delicious. I love it. And so I just take some time, this coffee is wonderful. And that resets my mind. That makes me so grounded and so happy, and it really sets me up for the rest of the day. Next up, I call this one Remember Who You Are. Because, we all have better days and worse days. At some days we are this wonderful, amazing, inspiring and kind person. And then another day you might just get angry at anything after 5 seconds. We all have this. But you can increase the probability that your day will be one of the good days if you start your day off by thinking about what kind of person do I want to be today. And I do this with a little note. I've just written down my core values and kind of the way I want to present myself in the world. And I will just read it every day. I will read it and I'll try to visualize and feel how it would be to do that during the day. So it all comes down to, I'd say, commitment and remembering. First you say, yes, I'm really gonna try to be happy. I'm gonna try to be productive, and I'm gonna learn how to do it, and I'm gonna really do it. And then it's about remembering. It's oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna be nice to other people. It's things like, it sounds so stupid, but it actually makes a difference. Oh yeah, I will be happy. Oh yeah, I will try to be nice to people. Oh yeah, I will try to be inspiring. I will try to bring some flirtiness into the day, because that's a little bit of salt and pepper for life. So these things, they're so simple, yet they're so effective. They're the things that have stuck with me. If you want a starting point for this, I've summarized everything we're talking about today, plus a little starting point for what values or what ideas you might bring to the table and remind yourself of in the morning. I've added it all in a little worksheet. If you want that, click the link in the description, sign up for my newsletter. It'll be the first thing that I'll send you. Okay, the mind is ready, so let's get down to a bit more tactical part, and that is planning the day. What I like to do here is I look at my appointments of the day, and start writing them down. I dump from my brain the things that I can think of. This needs to happen today, this needs to happen. And maybe I'll go over to my to-do list and see for a bit more inspiration of what else needs to go. And then I will just reorder those tasks and give them each a timestamp, kind of think how long will each of these points take. So that way there's a day plan ready. And this is for me one of the most powerful tools for me to stay focused. Because so often we get distracted by other things that actually still need to happen. And having the day plan tells you, no, that's okay. There is a time and a space for this other task. If new things come up, I can always adjust the plan. So the last part is commit. And you might think, why is this a separate part? Well, the reason is so much of what we do depends on what we decide to do. And so I really take the time here to just reflect on what did I think of this morning? What did I plan to do? And just breathe deeply and say, yes, Marcel, I'm gonna try to do all of this today. Let's go. And then we go into the next part, which is the actual working day. The most challenging part about the working day, I feel like, is just the sheer length of it. 8-9 hours of high energy. Honestly, it's impossible. We're gonna try to do our best here, but we'll see that one of the tricks is to rest and to take breaks, because there's no way you can stay focused for 9 hours. And then the best thing about energy that I've learned is that realizing that your body has cycles throughout the day. So there are natural moments of high energy and there are natural moments of low energy. So once you start to know these moments, try to plan your work around it. And also when you feel this energy dip, when you feel really tired, do not power through it with coffee or something. When you are tired, give your body the rest it needs. Walk away from your desk, take a little walk, maybe sit on a sofa and close your eyes for 5 minutes, and you'll be surprised by how quickly that dip ends when you actually give your body the rest it needs. For the rest, I feel like most of this energy and focus comes down to simplifying. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Try to have as least amount of things as possible going on, and especially least amount of things at the same time. Do not multitask. Multitasking is so 20th century. We cannot do it. I always think of computers. A computer looks like it's doing multiple things at the same time, But in reality, it's just switching between them very quickly. And as a matter of fact, this switching between tasks is actually quite expensive. It takes quite a lot of time. And for humans, it's exactly the same thing. Switching from one thing to another is something that requires a lot of energy. This is why going into social media or checking the news is not gonna replenish your energy, because you're switching all the time, because you're getting impulse after impulse after impulse, and you're changing all the freaking time. Next point is commit to focus. People think that focus is this long, hard, big thing that you get into and at some point you lose and you're like, I'm not focused anymore. But the truth is, it's much more a constant process of going into focus again and again and again. When I'm working, I get the impulse to get distracted every few minutes. And there's always this internal dialogue, Marcel, do not get distracted. Let's stay focused. I know you need to wait for 2 minutes, but it really is not a good idea to start doing something else for these 2 minutes. You're not gonna save time because you're gonna lose focus, and the next part of your work is gonna take a long time. So just wait for a bit. So focus is much more this constant process of negotiating with yourself and getting back into it over and over and over again until it's break time. And that's actually one of the best hacks I've found for staying focused longer. It's telling yourself, okay, just 10 more minutes of focus and then you can take a break. Is that okay for you? Let's just try and do this, okay? And you'll find that most of the time, when those 10 minutes have passed, you get in a much more deeper state of focus and you kind of forget that the 10 minutes have passed, or you're like, oh, I'm focused now, I can just keep going for a bit longer. Still, remember to take breaks. I take a break about every 50 minutes and then I take a 10 minutes break. In the morning, I often feel like I don't need the breaks, but then when I don't take the breaks in the afternoon, I get tired much more easily. So I really need to force myself to go take breaks so that the energy lasts a longer time. What you do during those breaks is actually very, very important, because we want to use this to empty our mind. What I've found is that our focus and our energy does not run out if we ironically stay focused the entire day. Just the key is that it should be a different type of focus. I call this the focus first lifestyle. There's another video where I go into more detail, but I'll summarize it for you now. So stay focused when you're working, but also stay focused when you're taking a break. Except like focused working is kind of fills your brain, but focused breaks is about emptying your brain. Most of us kind of switch to another browser window and watch the news or scroll through Instagram or watch a few TikToks. But what that is doing is actually filling our brain that's already been filled to the brim, and actually nothing else, there's nothing that fits anymore. We need to take the time to do nothing and let it kind of all get out of there. One of the techniques that a lot of people love is called release meditation, and what it comes down to is you sit there, you close your eyes, you breathe, and you repeat to yourself, release, release, release. And while you're doing it, you can look at what am I thinking. Every thought that you noticed, you consciously choose, I will release this thought. You can also try and feel your muscles and relax each of your muscles all at once. But after a few minutes, you'll notice that finally, my brain is empty, I can do nothing for a few minutes, and then you're ready again for the next block of deep work and focus. Also during your breaks, move, because sitting is actually very unhealthy for us. And they call it the new smoking because actually it seems like the negative effects on your overall health are similar to smoking. Like smoking and sitting the entire day have an interestingly similar size of negative effects on your life. Where this has the biggest effect is in your shoulders and in your hips. So we tend to kind of round our shoulders too much, and our hips cannot move when we're sitting down. So when you're taking this break, stand up, move the hips, shake this, rotate your arms a bit, go in, out. And this isn't gonna look weird to your colleagues, but if you give them a good explanation, they'll be like, actually, you have a point. If you start explaining to people, if I do this, then I get more work done, and then I'm happier during the workday, and I just have energy when I get home at the end of the day, people will be like, that's an interesting, maybe I should do it too. And then it's so nice when everyone in the office starts moving and stuff in those breaks, because like it makes such a big difference. Our bodies are made to move the entire day, and sitting down is just, it's not a good thing for us. You know the day plan we made at the beginning of the day? Follow it. Look at it at least every hour, or depending on how long your working blocks are or how often things might change, just so that you remind yourself, this is the thing I should be following, this is exactly what I should be doing. If things need to change, take some time to update that plan. The plan is really useful because it's both a motivational tool and it's also a tool for focus. It's motivational in the sense that it shows you what you've already done, and it helps you with focus in the sense that it tells you what not to do, i.e. everything that is not on the day plan should not be done. So follow the plan and update it when it's needed. Finally, don't take it all too seriously. We've talked about a lot of serious things here, very, very serious. But it's important to keep having fun, because life is about in the end is enjoying life more. And so you should be paying a lot of attention to make sure that that really happens. One of the great ways to replenish your mental energy is to expend physical energy. It's a funny thing, using physical energy refreshes your mental energy. So I love to take the moment, to take the time to just dance and appreciate everything I've done until today, because the feeling of progress and momentum is one of the core elements of motivation. So really play some music that you love and think about all the things that you've already been doing, the things that you've planned, the things that you wanted to do, things that you have been doing till now, and just the direction that your life is going. Because we're doing things that we love, and it's amazing. It's amazing that we get to have this opportunity. So please pay attention to your motivation and keep it up and just keep dancing, because it's amazing. Wow, we've really crushed it today. And so many people take this hyper energy, maybe a bit annoyance back home, and don't have a great evening because of that. So I want you to make a little ritual for ending the workday. One of the things I love doing is closing all my tabs one by one and just taking my time. No more this, no more this, no more this. It's done for the day. There's nothing more that needs to happen today. I can let it all go. If you have a commute, that's a great place to do it. I love having, again, a couple of sentences to just reset my mind and remember what I want to think of. I will say to myself, Marcel, there's nothing more you need to do. It's the end of the day. Honor the struggle. That's one of my favorite sentences. I've got this from Brendan Burchard, and honoring the struggle, it gets me to tears 50% of the time, because it reminds me that life is hard, but I can handle it. And actually the struggle, the hard part, the challenges, those are what make life worthwhile, because those are the things that make me grow. And that's really what I want. I want to grow. I want to become the ultimate version of who I am. So I want to welcome those challenges, and I want to thank myself for my capacity to be able to handle them. And so letting that go, returning to the now. If you have a significant other or boyfriend, girlfriend, or kids at home, I would suggest that before you get home, you take a few minutes to just sit there and think about, how do I want this evening to be? How do I want my relationship with the other people at home to be? What kind of person do I want to be there? I probably want to laugh, I want to have fun, I want to make this enjoyable, and I want us to calm down together so we can get ready for a great, refreshing night's sleep so we can do the same thing again tomorrow. And just those 2 minutes make such a big difference in the person you are in the evening. So please do it, because it makes a difference for real. Then your key task throughout the evening is about emptying your mind and keeping it empty until you go to sleep. One of the great ways to empty your mind is journaling. So take a piece of paper, take a journal. Don't do it on a computer. It works much better when you're actually writing with your hand, one hand. And just take the paper and write down everything you can think of. Just write. And you'll notice that after a few minutes or maybe hours, depending on how full your mind is, at some point it just stops. and then you're like, huh, nothing more to think about. And it's such a relief to be able to let everything go there. After that, please keep your mind empty. Don't do anything complex. Preferably do not watch television or news or social media. Instead, read a book. Keep it simple. Simplify, 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 because that will keep your mind in this state that is so calm. And then maybe it's just me, but I feel like only when my mind is empty, I'm fully capable of having these thoughts and realizations like, hey, life is actually really beautiful. Like, life is actually great. I can only have that when my mind is really empty and when there's nothing else to think about. So I try to stay in that state all the time. Again, it's focused first lifestyle. And now we're ready for a wonderful night of sleep. So we can do the same thing over tomorrow, and it's gonna be great. We've seen a bunch of things today, and maybe you've been doing all of them for a long time, or maybe it's all new. If this is new for you, don't try to be perfect within 3 seconds. Just take one thing that you will improve on and start doing it for the next week. What it comes down to, I think, is committing and remembering. So first you say, yes, I will do this, and then you remind yourself to do it often. If you want help with that, my biggest fear is that you think these are good ideas and then you never implement them. So I want to help you get it done. I've summarized everything that we saw today, and I've given you a starting point for the values and the ideas you might have for yourself that you might remind yourself in the morning. I've also made a little guided meditation of some sort to just talk you through it. If you're in a car, for example, then you can play it and it's easier to visualize without having to read. I've done the same thing in the evening, so just a little evening words and a way to help you calm down and reset. And also, if you sign up for the newsletter, so click the link in the description to sign up for the newsletter. I'll send you all of that stuff, and I will also help you implement one of these things. So I hope we see each other there on a bit more of a personal level. Thank you for watching. If you loved this, please like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and just let YouTube know that this is interesting. Let me know what you thought about it. If you have any feedback, I love to hear that, because I'm doing this to help you. I'm doing this not to help you, and because I enjoy doing it. But it would be best if we get both of those, right? So thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Thanks.